Let's move, staying within the subject, but move on to Melanie Shaw, because we have some news about Melanie. Really just putting this on screen so that people can see her photograph if you haven't seen her. This was taken quite a few years ago, and I have to say that Melanie's prison time has really taken a toll on her. Of course, Theresa May we have to bring into the frame because she was Home Secretary at the time Melanie was sentenced. Melanie went through secret court hearings which put her in prison, and it was recently that we were able to say, document is top left. We've shown this more clearly before, but this is the document which says that Melanie should have been released on the 2nd of this month, 2nd of June 2018. She didn't appear. We can now tell you why. We've been informed that Melanie Shaw is now being held in HM prison style on remand, and that the remand status is based on serious charges following incidents in prison, and a date for a court hearing has yet to be set. This is deeply worrying because Melanie was talking to us in some of the letters that she managed to get out about being harassed and bullied and threatened by prison staff. And so we have little idea what took place around her, but we do know at one stage Melanie was extremely frightened at the actions of particularly some of the male warders. I'll come on back onto that in a minute, but this is the other bit. We also understand that there are indications that the state agenda this time is to get her committed to psychiatric care. So I have to say that we are now extremely worried about Melanie Shaw's position, because of course in the prisons that she's experienced to date, including Peterborough, not only Style but Eastwood Park, Melanie has talked about being followed by sometimes up to 5 warders, men and women. She had to leave the door open while she went to the toilet, even with male warders present. She's talked about being threatened in her cell. She's been denied medical treatment, and she spent over 18 months in solitary confinement. We believe that all of those tactics were designed to break down her mental state. If something has now taken place in prison, we say there should be a full and open inquiry into what has happened around Melanie Shaw. We are very, very concerned that she's going to go back into another secret court case where the public and her lay legal team will be denied access, and probably the press will be denied access. That is the most we can give you at the moment. We do know some other information about the charges, but we feel at the moment it's not our place to talk about that. But everything seems to be lining up to say that Melanie Shaw is going to be kept in prison or in a psychiatric unit. Our guess is until the whole of the independent inquiry on child abuse is finished, and then of course Melanie can be simply dumped off to one side. If anybody wants to write to Melanie at the moment, here's her address back up on screen: Melanie Shaw, A4126 DE, HMP Style, Wilmslow, Cheshire, SK9 4HR. David and Robert, no doubt you'll want to respond to this, but it's been clear at the outset that the veracity of Melanie Shaw's evidence about the abuse of children in Beechwood Children's Home, Nottingham, and she has always maintained children were murdered there. The British state is desperate to silence this woman.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. If I may make another suggestion to people watching, I would contact Amnesty International. I've tried to contact them on a number of occasions in the past, and they really don't respond to my concerns about the human rights breaches, the violations against Melanie Shaw. It seems that Amnesty International are only interested in violations that do not involve the British government. That is not good enough. They're there to represent everybody in any country of the world. So I would urge readers, I don't think you'll get necessarily too far with the prison, although it does help a lot if people write in. I'm not deterring or trying to deter anyone from writing to HMP Style. I've done it several times myself. But I think a massive attempt of involving Amnesty International would be very useful and would certainly put a goal of pressure on the British government. And that pressure needs to be applied as quickly as possible.
Okay, Robert, thank you very much for that. I'll say some people are asking in the chat box about Melanie's legal team. This is one of the great problems that we've had, is that when Melanie sacked her legal team in court because they were simply not representing and not protecting her, not taking her instructions, the judge simply appointed another team. So Melanie at the moment is represented by a law firm she did not want, and the judge has kept the lay legal help out of prison. The lay legal help that Melanie does want, the judge has kept them out of prison. So this is where we see judges running star chambers, because this is out of sight of the public, and basically we've got procedures which the judge is creating as they go along. So raising money for a legal team doesn't help at the moment, because we can't get legal help alongside Melanie, because the court itself simply decides who's going to represent her. I'll just end on this note. Sorry, David, I can see you're interested in coming in. Just let me finish this one. Somebody highlighted a couple of days ago that Common Purpose was active in Style Prison. This is part of Common Purpose Facebook page, where they're boasting that one of their coaches is now operating in Style. I find this of great concern, particularly after the worries over Common Purpose operating in the NHS, but we're waiting for more information.
David.
Well, I was just to say, it is the Gulag state. That's the Gulag Archipelago is the book to read to see how this is done. It's exactly the same tactics, and it's heartening to see so many people in Britain waking up to this. A lot of the protests regarding Tommy Robinson have been recognising that Melanie Shaw and Melanie Shaw's story is at least of equal, if not greater, significance. It's all part of the same picture of official cover-up and of the use of the criminal justice system to target people who have the courage to speak out. So there are more and more people becoming aware of Melanie Shaw and of the significance of her story and her case.
Thank you, David. Now, the question is what to do about it. Well, look, something that we thought would be a useful thing to do. We spoke with Ned Pamphilon, the fantastic artist, and to see what we could do. And we decided we would produce some postcards, and these are now available on the UK column shop, and depending on how many you buy, of course, depends on the cost. But look, what we would like people to do, if you're willing to do it, is to get hold of a pack of 5 or a pack of 10 or whatever. There's space on the back, as is normal with a postcard, to put a message on. Get postcards about Melanie Shaw to your MPs, to your councillors, to Amnesty International, to the mainstream media, to whoever that you think should receive it, with a personalised message on it. I mean, we're not going to suggest what you should write on it, other than to say that it be.
It's more powerful if it's a reasonable, focused comment.
Right, and of course, because it's a postcard and your message is clearly on the back, then people that are working for the post office get to see it, so it helps spread the word, and I think it would be a pretty powerful statement to make. We've also produced one for anybody that wants to campaign on the situation with city trees being chopped down round about the country. Those are the first 2. If there's any interest in actually using these for actually campaigning, then we'll do some more. But we'd be very interested in seeing what effect that might have if people took that up as an active campaign.
Yeah, and these communications to officials and MPs, a lot of people say to us, I wrote to my MP, but I didn't get a reply. This is often the case, but don't assume that because that happened, your letter didn't make an impact. The letters make an impact and can actually achieve a great deal, as can emails, but it needs the volume of members of the public, particularly within each constituency. If several thousand people in a constituency are going for the local MP, you can be sure that MP is paying attention, because they know what's coming next is they're going to lose their seat.